Oh, blah, 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 blah.
I think James is simulcasting. I don't know if he intended to.
Oh, are you? Cool. Well, that's good. We'll
I went ahead and...
Well, that's very, very nice of you, man.
Very nice of you. Thank you, James. You're such a good moral anti-realist.
I am.
Yep. So, yeah. So I only eat things that scream while I'm eating them. And I'm doubling down on that.
Fair.
Yep. I find that that's the best way to get vegans to not talk to you anymore about it.
Right. Yeah.
You tell them that, and they all slide away from me on the bench. They're just like, okay, right. we're not even going to touch this one. This is like some crazy shit. So who has heard Prozac? Does anybody know Prozac?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a band?
Yeah, Prozac.
Well, obviously, I've heard them. By the way, we have a very crowded and active side chat. We've got Nitty in the audience, shall we say? I hate to really call it an audience because that implies passivity and disengagement. But we got Nitty. Brian Stevens is here. Stephanie Helms has graced us with an appearance. And of course, our Wooly, who's always with us, who seems to be, and who's always welcome.
Mm.
Okay, so Stephanie knows about Call Any Vegetable. No, that's cool. I think we're the same age, so you would know about Call. Do you guys know the song Call Any Vegetable?
Doesn't sound familiar.
I've never heard that song.
Oh never. My God, it's like it's one of the biggest hits from the '60s, like top 40, #1 for like 2 years in a row. No,
right from before televisions had color. Right,
I'm lying about that.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Okay, yeah, I think I'd pretty much get a copyright strike. So Frank Zappa, Mother's Invention, Call Any Vegetable. Okay, let's see if I can find out a song clip from. Oh my goodness. You guys, okay, that and Prozac sucks to be you. I think I'll get a copyright strike for I'm trying to get copyright strikes lately.
Sucks to be you.
I think that'll give me a copyright strike.
Did I hear the word sucks to be you?
Sucks to be you. Yeah, I remember that song.
Sucks to be you. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a guy realizing that he did to some girl exactly what was done to him, and he realized what an asshole he is all at once. Oh, let's see here. Okay, that one. Let's see. I don't know.
Some people don't go for.
Let's see. I think that might be the part. I might get a copy.
And the chances are good. All the vegetable will respond to you.
Okay, that's all I dare.
Vegetable-related blues music sounds awesome.
Now you've been educated.
Vegetablues.
Yeah, vegetablues.
Vegetable
now you've been educated, musically educated. For you youngins just don't know.
We're ignorant today, these days.
Yeah,
I'm just glad somebody's still alive and old enough to call me a youngin.
We need you to put together a Spotify playlist of songs that have been forgotten since the 50s and 60s, even the 70s.
I'd rather put together the list of the songs that I discovered since 1990. So
well, that's fine too.
Yeah, because man, at some point I got so fucking sick of classical music that I just listened to nothing at all from the 60s and 70s. But I always liked the 80s because you know they had the Billy Idol kind of like deep voice sort of shit, you know. I don't know, and really good music. But then the 90s alternative rock really came of age. And there were some really good bands that came out in the aughts and the teens, and I'm sure there's some more good ones that came out yesterday. But a lot of good bands keep coming out. Man, it's amazing how much music we've created in the rock genre. In the oh my god, Rutabaga. Yeah, where's the Rutabaga part in that song? I wonder if they got a transcript of that song. Oh, let's see here. No transcript of the song. I don't know where the Rutabaga is, but the Rutabaga was good.
Carrot Juice is Murder from Arrogant Worms.
Yeah, so let's see what ChatGPT says as a moral anti-realist. Because I only trust ChatGPT on philosophy these days. What? My session has expired. You bastards. What do you mean log in? What are they talking about? Oh my god. Oh, what the fuck? And I started paying them. I'm paying them $20 a month, the bastards. Oh, and they went back to 3.5. Give me 4.0. Fuck you. Oh, technical problems. So what was your stream on, James? Can you summarize? Because I was waiting for you to stream and you were late and I fell asleep.
That happens.
Yeah.
Happens a lot, you know, because you're old and you sleep a lot.
I'm old and I'm dying and I can't walk. And yeah, gotta get the walker.
Well, for me, it's I'm old, yet I have insomnia, yet I nap a lot.
Right. Sure, why not? So today's stream on my channel was about moralities, plural. And it was about what morality means, you know, like basically laying out a definition of it and laying out the foundation of how morality forms, how it works, and why it works. And talked a little bit about, in contrast, religious people's ideas of morality. And there's, of course, some overlap there. I didn't go too deep down the rabbit hole, but just laid out the basic ideas of it and talked about some of the ideas that I've developed for my morality and some of the ways that I've failed and some of the ways that I've been able to put it into practice. So I don't know, if you want to play it, you can just see what I say about it.
It's like an hour long, isn't it?
Oh, probably.
I was hoping if you summarize.
What's going on here, says Leo. So
talking about moral anti-realism.
Moral anti-realism.
8614.
Right. So
yeah.
I'm not sure if philosophers would claim that I'm a moral anti-realist. I could be using the term wrong. I think that it's impossible to have a moral structure or even a foundation where where it's entirely objective. I don't think that's possible. I think that subjectivity is huge in anybody's moral structure. And I think that with that being the case, there are no moral absolutes. And so things like morality and human rights and things like that are things that we come up with in order to encourage people to behave certain ways so that we can build healthy, sustainable, mutually beneficial social systems, human social systems, locally and in a broader sense of societies. And so, things like human rights aren't something that the universe grants to us. These are not objective, real things. These are concepts that we develop, and for various reasons that you talk about somewhat in the stream that we're here responding to. So, but I think I diverge a little bit, and I'm not sure. Leo could tell us, but I might diverge somewhat from moral anti-realists in that I do recognize that there are some objective components in the process. And the reason I say that is because I am a determinist, a physicalist, if you want to call it that. And so I think that all of our feelings, which are always relevant to our moral ideas, are forced upon us by physics, right? They happen to us. And so you can't get any more objective as a driver than physics.
Yeah.
And so with that being the case, there's definitely and unavoidably an objective component to the mechanisms of how we develop moral ideas and morally themed ideas and how we put those into practice. But at the same time, you can't get away from the subjectivity either, the subjective experience of it, the personal experience of our emotions and our perspectives and how we make sense of the world and how we respond to the world and how we want to have things for ourselves and for others. So these are subjective considerations. So I do think it's a marriage between the objective and the subjective. And I'm not sure if that allows me to properly claim to be a moral anti-realist or not. Leo could tell us better if that fits or not.
Yeah, I think that crosses over into moral realism. I don't believe particularly in the normative aspect of human morality. I believe it exists, but I believe it's something that we develop culturally, linguistically, conceptually, and socially. That what we've done is we've taken actual morality, which is nothing more than animal behavior. So natural morality is based on animal behavior. And then we take that and we conceptualize it and we reason about it. And then we have moral reasoning. And we often confuse moral reasoning with morality. Now, morality is more of a core human aspect about ourselves, about us as an organism. So that would be morality. But then morals, we can write down, generalize and write down contractual agreements between groups of humans, and we can talk about it and make language, do whatever. I got my door open. I hope that it ain't too noisy. But anyways, so there's a separality, a separation, separality. I like that word, separality. There's a separation. The jet took my mind out as it went by. A separation basically between what actual morality is or morals are and what human morality is, a distinction that has to be made when you're having these fights about morality. Because what humans will do is they'll come up with edge cases and they'll say, oh, well, if you believe this, then what about this edge case? Like if there's a trolley and there's one person here and 25 little baby carrots on this other track, what do you do? So, I mean, it's those discussions become very boring to me very quickly. So I like to hearken back to what is animal behavior around what is animal behavior that morality is based on? Well, as mammals, we grow up in a litter, right? Almost all of us, or a lot of us grew up in a litter. And you like your brothers and sisters, you like your mom and dad likes her little babies. And then and then we grew up in a community, and you have to get along with your community members. Like the raccoons have to not kill each other while they're eating. Otherwise, they'd never get time to eat, right? They do nothing but fight. So there's all of these hormones, emotional systems, brain systems that are wired to allow animals to exist in packs, in groups, in families, in litters. And from that, all morality is based. And we grow up in that culture, and we construct that morality around that culture. And then, of course, we write it down, and then eventually we write it down as law. There are certain morals like thou shalt not kill that actually get written into all of our laws, and they need to be in order to get along. And it's no more complicated than that. There's no big fucking philosophical question here. It's real simple. You don't have to worry about it. We all know what right and wrong is because we all grew up in the same kind of litter and culture. So that's my view on it. So I think that's moral realism. Moral behavioralism? I don't know, what do you think of that? That it's animal behavior. That is morality. Push back.
I think animal morality is maybe like a rudimentary thing. I don't know
Animal
that
behavior.
we would have to consult, I think, some animal behavioral specialists to get them to talk about.
Why?
Because I haven't studied animals enough to be able to make a critical decision.
You haven't seen a group of animals in a little group together not killing each other?
Well, yeah, not killing, but is that? But that's not.
I mean, I've seen it both ways. I've seen animals getting along very badly, trying to kill each other, and I've seen them
they do
getting
fight.
along with So I think Leo's right. It's too reductionist. So I can agree that there's relevance to it because we are animals, and there are some drivers for behaviors in the rest of the animal kingdom that we also share in common with them. But we are more complex in our thought processes and our human social systems. We're so much more complex in every dimension that it's relevant. Like there are facets that we share in common, but it's way too reductionist just to phrase it the way that you did. I think Leo's right.
Way too reductionist. Okay, reduction. So why do we reduce things? So we reduce things basically so that we can find a simple core, basically. So you want to find a core, right?
I don't think it is a core, but go ahead.
Okay, and then, but I think it is the core, and that's okay. From reduction, okay, we construct. So you never say, oh, I've reduced it to this, and it's just that. Like water is just hydrogen and oxygen atoms. You can't make that reduction, right? But you have to reduce it, and you have to start with the hydrogen and oxygen,
right?
And then you construct. So then you construct your core, right? So you get your core, and then you construct around the truth, and then you find the truth in the truth of the core inside of what you have constructed. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with animal behavior, and we're all
we are animals, so I suppose we have to start there, right?
Yep, got to start there. We got to look at our behavior, and there's some really important things about human beings and mammals in general. Mammals in general basically have nurturing of young because that is absolutely necessary because mammary glands have to feed those young, right? And then what isn't necessary is that the male sticks around and raises the children, and that doesn't happen in all mammals, but it happens in a lot of mammals where the male.
To quote Eminem, how you gonna breastfeed me, Ma, if you ain't got no tits? But go ahead.
Okay, wait a minute. Did he really say that out loud?
He did say that in one of his songs, word for word.
Loud. Oh,
wow. That would be a concern if you are breastfeeding.
Yeah.
What is going on here? Oh, I see. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. What is going on with my pen? I don't know.
I don't know either. I blame Satan.
Well, this is odd.
This is odd.
Oh, that happened.
No. How can a virtual pen run out of ink?
I know.
I'd like to know. Oh my gosh, that might be new.
Yeah, my virtual pen ran out of ink just now, and it's like
the internet ran out of pink.
Yeah, the internet ran out of pink. Okay. So if you start with animal behavior, there's the thing about mammary glands, the thing about giving birth, the thing about neoteny, where you have to raise a young because they can't just pop out of the womb and start killing things like my cats.
Sure.
And there's all those basic functions, and from those little functions, like you got all these little things that we can talk about, that are absolutely biologically necessary, right? Like mammary glands and neoteny basically, what else could we? The fact that litters are born, so that the young have to play together and have to work together without trying to eat each other. I mean, if you found like you had a litter of puppies and one puppy, you woke up in the morning and one puppy had eaten another puppy, you'd say, what the fuck? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't happen very often, you got to admit. So that's a reality about morals, right? There's some morality going on there at a very basic level. And then from that,
Well, clearly because of Puppy Jesus. I just want to point this out.
puppy Jesus, right?
Puppy Jesus.
Yeah. And then from that, there's basically all kinds of there's other constructs, like for instance, adrenaline is something that costs us a lot of glucose, costs us money, and it feels bad when you get adrenalized, when you're scared to death or you're angry or you're fighting. So you have all these negative things. So you have all of these limbic effects that also contribute to morality. These real basic hormonal body effects on your metabolism. Okay, and there's another layer of morality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, you've got some cognitive effects, which are even more interesting because those things are like, okay, puppies will grow up together and they'll start play fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like animals play fight with each other. They don't actually fight. They don't fight to the point of death. They don't get angry. They don't get adrenalized. So there's these cognitive effects right here that start to pop up that are almost necessary and almost innate, right? So on top of all that, okay, then you add humans' ability to linguistically represent things or conceptually represent things, and then we start to develop this idea of morality. And way down here, we get the philosophies come in and say, oh, that's too reductive. And no, I'm not being reductive. I'm being constructive. I'm trying to get it down to the facts, to the physical, scientific facts of the matter, and then build from there. Because if we don't build from there, I don't think we're ever going to quite understand morality. Because for some reason, if I run up and I see my neighbor standing behind his car and his car is left in neutral and it starts rolling toward him, I'll either run toward him or yell at him to get him out of the way naturally. And that's based more so on this core morality than, this adrenalized limbic area, right? Than anything else. I mean, I don't have to sit there and think about, oh, am I an anti-realist or a moral realist? Is this objectively true? Is there something that I ought to do? None of that shit happens in morality. Morality is always done in the moment. It's like a behavior that's done in the moment. And we do it from this core that goes all the way back to what we are, as beasts, how our limbic system is constructed and how our cognition basically was constructed as we grew up. And then we get to the point out here where we start to reason about morality. And I just don't think that it's that complicated. What's complicated about this? Panel?
Mm-hmm.
People? Those who accuse me of being reductive? You too? People?
Yeah, so Leo, what do you think about this? I have to. This is an important issue. I want to let Leo tell me what to think about this before I
don't give a shit what some 20-year-old thinks.
He's smarter than all three of us put together. I mean, let's be honest.
I don't really care about what some 20-year-old thinks about this.
You hear that with his ageism, Leo? You're going to take that.
Ageism, right?
You're going to take that ageism. Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying. Obviously, there's, it goes deeper than that too, right? It's chemical and it's neurophysiological and it's situational and it's conditional and it's biological and it's sociological. There's just so many layers and so many drivers in the intricate, interconnected machineries that from which our moral constructs emerge, right? It makes them emergent. So, and I'm fine with that. Like, I don't think anybody's trying to challenge or question that these things are a thing. because of course they are.
Yeah.
But
Well, okay. Now, given the framework that I just outlined, with all this stuff, right now, what can we talk about? I mean, what is left to talk about in morality, and can we talk about it within this framework? Basically, what we are like. Okay, I understand that you eat baby carrots, James.
Mm-hmm.
Being an atheist,
Right.
you have
Right,
no
right,
moral.
right. So,
You have no, yeah, you have no
so
moral
anything that
problem.
we think and anything that we feel automatically is a thing that some animals are thinking and feeling because we're animals.
Yeah.
Therefore, we can't get away from the fact that these are animals engaging in the concerns of a specific breed of animal. So, yeah, sure, it's just that's just an automatic. It's a given. So, with that being the case, our moral constructs are still an emergent property that comes from all of these mechanisms. So, okay, we can't separate it out. That's fine, right? But there's an awful lot of things that we care about and that we incorporate into what we call our moral considerations that other animals do not. And this is because that we're so much more complicated in our awarenesses and our concerns and our cognitions and the way that our minds work, basically, and the way that our human social systems work. So, are all of these animal concerns? Sure, because we're animals. But do we share all of these concerns in common with other animals? No, we don't. So, I'm not really sure what the divergence, what we're supposed to be disagreeing about here or even agreeing about. These are just things that happen. I don't know.
Okay, so let's see. Brian Stevens says, so social creatures need neither a functional instinctive behavior or an educational cognitive training.
Either, not neither.
Yeah, neither.
Either.
Either a functional instinctive behavior or an educational cognitive training.
This just in. Apparently, Gutsit Gibbon just put out a video about Miocene apes.
Ooh.
So there you go. After this, you can go. And I just put it in the description because I can.
Oh my God, I love that you're updating the description now, Scott. You know what's going to be your job going forward. Okay, so insects aren't particularly. They don't have high morality. Crows have an interesting moral pack behavior and language. Okay, even with emergent things, we humans want to. Okay, Top Dog says humans want to make starting points. I'm not sure. Okay, that tracks, but ageism, let's see, it's the right way. Yeah, ageism is an objective moral. I'm an emergentist too, but I can see simple emergence all around and verifiably everywhere, right? Emergent properties can't be reduced to the underlying components. And how do you have reliable knowledge about these emergent properties? I don't like reliable and justifiable knowledge. Epistemology pisses me off as much as ethics.
Well, that's why they call it epistemology. They're like, he pissed me off.
Pissed me off is what they should call it. Yeah.
Piss me off demology.
Piss me off theology. Yeah. Nerdy would make a delicious snack. I agree. Rodents are delicious. Let's see. But let's see here. Okay. Oh no, we're going to get into consciousness. But the blue and yellow is more shaped by social behaviors and immediate community. Yeah, and that's the thing is all of this stuff is developmental from the time the first cell splitting, right? When the zygote first splits into two cells. Sure. All of this stuff becomes developmental based on the structure of your genes, your environment, and the organism. And your environment when you're born as a mammal is that your mama's there for damn sure, and you really need your mama. And then you're oftentimes you have litter mates. I had a bunch of litter mates. I think there were like 5 or 6 of them. And and I had a parent that's, father that stuck around in my particular species. Father stuck around. He was at the bar a lot. Granted, he was always at Mac's bar, but he was around half the time. So anyway, Mac's bar in the Bon Air in Mount Airy, Minnesota is where my dad kind of really lived. That was his first home. We were his second home.
Right. So Leo asks what reduction has to do with emergence. They're different concepts, right? So if I had to, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but if I had to answer that question, I would say that when we're talking about reduction, we're talking about reducing or focusing in on a narrow band of causal factors. And so emergence is what emerges from those factors. So we have the starting factors,
Reduction.
which is the reduction, and then we have the resulting phenomenon, which is the emergence.
Yeah, you start with the structure of hydrogen and oxygen, and then the molecule H2O. And from there, you can start to find the emergent factors that create wetness and stickiness of water, and all the things that water does are based on those physical factors. So there again, you start with the core, and then you start talking about what emerges.
Right. So if you want to understand the wetness and the stickiness, you have to understand that sometimes when a mommy carrot and a daddy carrot love each other very much.
Oh, bullshit, Leo. We just explained it to you, why reduction and emergence are related, and why.
Or if the daddy carrot has simply gave the mommy carrot $5 for an hour. Either way, you get the wet and you get the sticky.
Yeah, get the wet and get the sticky.
Yeah. Well, so reduction is just reducing things to their base components. Yes. So we're looking at the machine that produces an effect. The reduction is to say what are the parts that are moving and how are they connected. And then the emergence is what is the effect that's being generated by the machine.
Yep. So reduction and construction. So I'm not a reductionist. I'm a constructionist. I always like reduce and then construct.
I don't know. Like, we might be accidentally talking past each other, Leo.
Yeah, Leo's probably talking about something else.
Probably. Because Leo's all fancy. So the words, a lot of times what a word means to somebody who's highly educated is different than what the word means to us simple folk. And so we can accidentally talk past each other with that. And I don't mean to, but it happens. And I meant to get educated, but I'm 52 now, so it's a little bit late for that. So there we are.
Reductionism and emergence are two different philosophical approaches to understanding complex systems. Reductionism is the view that complex systems or phenomena can be understood by breaking them down to their simplest, most fundamental parts. It's based on the belief that the behavior of complex systems can be fully explained in terms of the behavior of its components. Wrong. Wrong. For instance, in science, a reductionist approach might attempt to explain biological phenomena in terms of physics and chemistry. Okay, now you can break it down, but the problem with that is when you're breaking down, like when you're breaking things down to their physical smallest components, you have too many things to keep track of. So then we have to start looking at an explanation that's based on emergent phenomena or something like that. And then we get to emergence, but they're very much related. And saying they're not related means that you have taken two bullheaded approaches to a problem. I'm only going to reduce things to the physics, and I'm only going to talk about physics from now on. And when I tell you about, you stepping up on a platform, I have to explain every single molecule involved in that stepping up on the platform. And I have to explain the physics of the entire thing. No. Okay. At some point, you use another approach, which would be looking at the emergent overall complex systems, right? And talking in general about what's happening. Now, let's see here. We have emergence, on the other hand, is the idea that new properties, behaviors, or complexities can arrive from the interactions of similar components. Well, you see, that's where we get really confused with emergence, okay? Like if you talk about wetness, right? You're kind of talking about something that a human would find if he stuck his fingers in some wet stuff. And now we've brought in another element, right? And like a lot of people will think that emergence is sort of this magical, superstitious fluid that basically rises up out of the swamp like swamp gas. And, that there's some emergent behavior that can't be explained with physics.
These are all sexual innuendos, right? Just so I'm keeping track.
Are they?
I hope.
Okay, yeah, okay.
There we go. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know.
If they're not, James has a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, you want? Yeah. Yeah. When I said I only eat things that scream, he wanted to make something sexual out of it. And I said, please don't, James. Please don't.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
I just don't want to do that. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay. Both reducctionism and emergence are used. I'm reading from ChatGPT 4.0. Are used as explanatory strategies in various fields of study, including physics, biology, and blah, blah, blah. While they might seem in opposition, they can actually be complementary. One could look at a complex system from a reductionist perspective to understand its constituent parts and their basic interactions. Hey, now I'm fucking agreeing with this AI. While also recognizing that the system as a whole exhibits emergent properties that can't be fully reduced to those components because we don't have time and we don't have enough paper to reduce them, right? I'm not sure if it's saying that. I'm saying that the system as a whole exhibits emergent properties that can't be fully reduced to these components. However, the balance between these approaches and how they should be applied is a subject of ongoing debate in philosophy and science. And there is no opposition here. It is a complementary system. Basically, these two things. We just did for morality, right? I don't know. Anyway, I'm turning into Steve McRae again, and I swore I wouldn't do that.
Well, that's fair. But, I don't see a way to separate them. No matter where the dividing line is.
Right.
I don't see a way to separate them out because we can't talk about what emerges without talking about what is emerging from. Unless we want to talk about magic, which is just religion rebranded. So
yeah, like okay, out here where we have this concept or okay, I want to draw another layer here, and that would be and I think I'm going to make that green. What do you think? Should I make it green? Make it
sure.
Green. Okay,
nice
here's where we write rules and laws in our society, right? So these are the rules. So rules and laws. Okay, so now if we want to talk about, this rule that we came up with that we shouldn't kill people, and somebody's going to say, well, why not? Why shouldn't we? Or what about if Russia attacks us? Should we kill them? Stuff like that. It's like, okay. Right. So we can go all the way back to, well, what I really mean by we shouldn't kill people is, we're going to feel bad if we kill people because of that limbic system, right? We were trained not to kill each other because we kind of like each other. So now we have the cognitive system. So, I mean, you got to go back and explain what you're talking about with this rule. Why did you make this rule? Okay, why shouldn't we kill babies in the womb?
Are you asking me?
Well, no, I'm posing that as a question, a difficult moral, ethical question. Should we kill babies in the second or third week after they're conceived? Should we do that?
No. I think that's a non sequitur. Is second or third week after conception isn't a baby. So,
well,
I mean,
so then we look back at all this. Okay, so our limbic system is only going to isn't going to respond. Like if you took a fetus and you put it in your hand, you would not respond to that like, oh, I want to hold that baby and rock it, right? I mean,
right. The same as I wouldn't take, just starting to sprout seedling and say that I'm going to do something with this tree, quote unquote. Not a tree, right? It's a little seed with a sprout. It's just not a thing yet. So,
Okay.
but
Scott is Kyle and James is Cheshire Vic. Okay. I hope I cleared that up. Yeah. So now you can look at those questions, right? And then we've got all kinds of stuff like, well, okay, if we're talking about an abortion, we've actually got two beings here. We got a big being and we got another little being inside of it, right? And we got to consider, what's happening here and what do we want to do. So I mean, it becomes really complicated out here for some of these edge cases, and we have to, and that's what moral reasoning is about. And that's where, philosophers can do some good, but only if they rely on this shit.
Right. So in the meantime, I'm an antinatalist still. So my answers about these issues are going to be a bit different than anybody else's anyways. But Leo says he'd love to come in and share a video with us, with Sean Carroll, Massimo. Go ahead.
Oh, Pelusi? Massimo Pelusi? Oh, Alex Rosenberg. Oh my God, yes.
That sounds great. I'd love to segue over that.
Let me send Leo a link.
We can get back to baby killing later because it's a fun subject we can plug into anything.
No, Leo, you could put that video in the description too, and I could put it on OBS. And wait a minute, what the hell just happened here? Blah blah blah. Invite guest. Invite guest. Oh. Okay. Let me send Leo a link. Leo. Flopulous? Okay. Been talking to Erica a little bit about chromosome 2. I did some chromosome 2 work yesterday, and it turns out Erica's doing the same work, probably much better than I could do it.
What, Gutsick Gibbon?
Yep.
She is adorable. I know she's brilliant, and that should be the focus, but she's just cute as a button. And I even her mannerisms and the way that she uses language, and she's just adorable. Adorable young person, that's what she is.
Yeah, I would like to clear up this chromosome 2 bullshit in a very short little paragraph here, okay? The fusion site was not proof of chromosome 2 fusion. The fusion site was a prediction. The proof of the fusion is that chromosome 2A and 2B line up perfectly with all the genes with chromosome 2 in the human. And then right at the point where 2A and 2B line up and come together, we found a fusion site that was predicted. And we found a remnant degenerate fusion site at that point. That's why we know that fusion happened.
Oh, I bet I have lots of degenerate fusion points.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have to.
Ooh, Leo, you sound a little loud. You got the video here?
Sure do, buddy.
Why are you doing that? No. Stop. Yes. Stop. Yes. No. What? Oh my God! I'm putting that over here in my computer. Dude, refresh. Let me just go to the old refresh button.
Oh, Leo, we got to link that in the description. Can you provide a link for us?
Yes, give me a second here. I just got to make sure. What? Oh my God! Why is this so slow? The fuck is going on? Dude!
Yeah, to within.
Oh my God, that's quite a panel.
Oh my God, I am so. I'm getting irritated
I've
now.
seen this video.
That's cool. We're still gonna watch it.
Yeah, Alex Rosenberg is a hero of mine. I like Alex.
Well, Leo's a hero of mine, and I have a question before we start.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. My fucking
Jesus, God. Leo Jesus syphilis. So, Leo, what are you going to do?
Hold on a second. Fucking worthless piece of fucking
So was
shit.
that philosophy Jesus in the middle of the table?
What?
What did you just send me a link?
Yeah, it's like the Last Supper image.
Okay, yeah, philosophy Jesus.
Give me a link.
I got this.
Give me a link.
Let me go full screen first. Pause. Okay, that's not gonna fuck. There we go. Yeah. Why is this window still open? Go away. Yes, leave. Bye.
This is Leo's ASMR science video.
There we go. Is it shirring? It's not shirring.
It's shirring. It's shirring a lot.
I don't see it. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Can I be Laplace's demon?
Can what?
If I knew the quantum state of 1 million light year cubic region around us, and I knew exactly what everything was doing, and I knew all the laws of physics, and I had infinite computational power, and I did not know the laws of thermodynamics or economics or biology, could I evolve it forward just using the laws of physics and get the inevitably right answer, or would I get the wrong answer?
To the distribution of matter at the end of that period of time.
Yeah, to within the theory, what the theory talks about. I mean, is the theory complete in its
Okay,
own
now you
sense?
tell me, but I got the impression that you couldn't because of basic things in physics like decoherence and non-locality.
No, I don't think that's...
Can't.
I mean, it's a quantum mechanical version of Laplace's demon, but the Schrödinger equation, is deterministic.
Yes.
It says, well, we can talk about wave functions collapsing in probabilities, but I think that's a red herring for this argument. It's still, so I will predict the probability of it happening rather than it happen, or we can be many worlds or whatever. I'm just saying, is the theory complete, or is there something that we get wrong by not knowing the higher level description?
Is that
I'd like to pause it right there. Is the theory complete, or is there something that we'll get wrong because we don't have the higher level description?
Yeah, I think we would. But there's no way we could talk about. Okay, as Sean Carroll said, and I didn't hear what Alex said in the meantime. But is that Dan Dennett back there?
Yes.
Oh wow, cool. You didn't put him in the description. Can you give me a link to that so I can look at the
I'm copying the link right now.
Okay, thanks.
Private
But anyway,
chat.
like what
When I look at a big room full of really smart people like that, I just wonder, do they have a soft serve ice cream machine in that room?
Yeah. I mean, what just happened here? What did you put two link? Oh, Scott put a link. Okay. Let me get my description fixed.
Why? What's wrong with the description?
Well, I have to get the title and all that.
I think it makes sense to say, I have a big computer, I simulate it, at the end I have a distribution of matter, I look at it, I see the economists, right? But what I think bothers people is the relationship between theories, not the relationship, not building a simulation and running it through, but we want to know if our theory of psychology is consistent with our theory of quantum field theory.
It's derivable, not consistent.
Derivables
far too strong.
Derivable strong, right? We want to know if those two theories are the same. It may be the case that we won't know. Now, it might be said every good scientific theory, eventually we can sort of see how the construction will go.
No, but you're avoiding my easy question by asking a hard question. My easy question is
if you run the simulation,
you get an answer, and is the answer right?
If you run the simulation and at the end you get the distribution of matter and you see the economist, I think, is there anyone who disagrees with that?
I don't think so, but I just want to make sure.
Sorry.
Let me give you an answer. Let me give you a tentative answer, because again, this is, I want to actually see what you think about this. So from the stuff that I read recently, one possible answer would be, yes, you get an accurate description of the positions or properties of matter at that level. You get no information at all about, let's say, the temperature and pressure at which some of that matter transitions from liquid to the vapor. Because for that, to get that, you need additional boundary conditions. You need something else.
No, I mean, I think that any boundary condition I might need is included in I just said 1 million light years across I have, right? So if I'm only predicting 1 year in the future, there's no boundary conditions that can possibly affect.
So ultimately, let's say that happened. Laplace's demon is back there 1 million years back. Got this cubic light year. I look down here and I say, this looks very busy to me. So Laplace's demon is predicted that I think that this is very busy. That's your claim.
Leo.
What does it mean? You think?
Oh,
Is that Terrence Deacon?
Yes.
Holy shit!
So is that Jerry Coyne on the right hand
Holy fuck.
table?
Man,
Wow.
this is like the panel of gods. I mean, these
Yeah.
guys are actually the gods, the real gods in the world.
Yeah, this is a really, really fucking good panel of guys here.
Shit.
Philosophers of science and stuff like that. Talking. And the question that Sean posed, as you can see, was a very good question to pose. And the reason I wanted to share this is because I think his initial question, and obviously the discussion that plays out as a result of it, is really important with respect to how we understand reduction and emergence as concepts and how we understand the difference between them.
Yeah, that is a good question. Okay, so Sean says, can I be with demons? Okay, if I knew the quantum state of the light year, some region around some light year regions around us, I knew exactly what everything was doing, and I knew all the laws of physics, computational power, and I did not know the laws of thermodynamics or economics or biology. Could I evolve forward just using the laws of physics and get inevitably the right answer? And I believe the question to that, the answer to that is no. Because,
I agree as well.
Well, because the question comes from a different domain. It comes from another domain that's much, much thicker and richer and above that, right?
And that's why I actually agree with, I think that was Massimo Pigliucci there, that said that there's going to be scales at which you're going to have different boundary conditions that are going to affect the way that we define how things are behaving or interacting. And as a result of that, you're effectively, you're going to need that to be able to get at some of these more perhaps like fine-grained details of what's going on in the system. And I think that that's a fundamental concept of emergence, is that mere reduction alone is not going to give you the full picture of what's going on, and that should be the purpose of our scientific theories and the framework that we use for understanding them, is capturing the full picture. And that's where I think that not just emergence, but structuralism, I think both structuralism and emergence go very, very well together. And I think that they provide a very, very solid framework for understanding what reality is and how it works.
Right. And I agree with that 100%. But just so we're clear about this, we humans will never, and I think reasonably we can expect that humans will never have a complete understanding of the physics that are happening. And
well, it
so
depends on what you mean.
Hypothetical.
Well,
I don't think we'll ever be able to account for every single facet of physical reality, like every single happening, every single. I just don't think, even if we could, even if we identified every single particle, every single wave function, every single anything else that we haven't figured out yet, we'll never have the ability to account for every single particle is, what they're all doing, and how they're going to collide in the future. We just can't. It's too big of a system.
Oh yeah, we don't have the computational power. We have the physics to do it, but we don't have the computational power to do it.
Right. So it's all just a,
so the physics is known, but computing the equations is what's holding us back from that, not understanding the physics.
Right, but I think that there's some things about physics we don't know yet. I mean,
of course.
So even if we eventually figured out all the things that we don't know yet, I think that, right, the computational power we just don't have, being able to track everything in real time, we just don't have. We'll probably never have that. So, but, I guess you might call a hard determinist. When people talk about probabilities, like they, about various a particle, like it spins, right, and you just don't know where it's going to be in its orbit in a given moment. I think what looks like randomness, I don't think is randomness. I think that there's something else happening there that we can't see.
Wait,
that makes it.
So you would hold to a hidden variables theory in quantum mechanics?
Yes, absolutely.
That there's some underlying hidden variables that we don't know about that keep the system deterministic.
Yeah, so I do think that, absolutely. Okay. Because I don't see a way around.
And there are respectable physicists that hold to those ideals. So don't think that like you're dumb or that's not like an appropriate position to hold to or anything like that. Because there are respectable physicists and philosophers of physics who hold the hidden variables theories.
Yeah,
I don't, but there are quite a few that do. So
I don't see how we get past it, and I don't know. I'm not qualified to go deep down this rabbit hole, so it doesn't matter if we want to or not. But I don't see a way around it because for anything that happens, even on the smallest of possible scales, even on the fastest of possible scales, like the minute, super fast, can't track it no matter what, it's just happening beyond our ability to see it. If there's ever a moment where a wave or a particle or anything else does a thing that isn't caused, that isn't necessitated into that behavior, then it moves without a cause. And if it moves without a cause, or slows without a cause, or spins without a cause, or whatever, then we are talking about something happening without a cause, which is by definition magic.
Well, that's not that. I wouldn't say that's what magic is. I would say magic is something that's inconsistent with the laws of nature, some effect in reality that is inconsistent with the laws of nature.
All right.
Because
So
I would contend that there's probably a lot of events that happen causelessly, like radioactive decay. It's the reason we can only work in half-lives. You cannot predict which particular individual molecule or atom, rather, will decay at any given moment. We can't do it.
Right,
It's stochastic.
Sure, but the hidden causes thing, right? Like I do think, because if it's not that, if something can happen one way and then happen a different way the next time, and there's no new cause for it to happen differently, it veers left, it veers right, it slows down, it speeds up, it pops in, it pops out. If anything can happen to anything on any scale that doesn't have a cause, then my mind says that can't be, that logically doesn't follow, because we're talking about a universe that has underneath of it all no cause. It's just things just happen without a cause, and I can see how things could happen without us knowing the cause.
Well, at some scales, things happen without a cause, but that doesn't mean that has to happen at all scales.
But I'm not convinced. I don't think that that's possible. I just think that
What causes an atom? What causes an atom to decay?
Even before you finish the question, my answer is already we don't know.
Yeah, but we already understand all of the underlying physics associated with it. So where's the cause?
I don't think
we do.
I don't think that we.
All of radioactive decay is reducible to like effective field theories.
Okay.
And we understand those effective field theories very, very well.
So
I just want to know where the cause is. What's the cause?
I don't know where the cause is.
I don't think there is one.
Tell me that we do. Well, that's fine.
Most physicists don't think there is one.
That's fine. All right.
Yeah, I just don't hold to this idea that causality has to be some sort of law or principle that like is necessitated in reality. I don't think that's true at all. I don't even think most metaphysicians of science think that's true. In fact, people like Bertrand Russell, amongst many others, have contended that causality probably isn't even a thing in physics. You look at fundamental physical equations, there's nothing, there's no cause variable. That's not how it works. What does it mean to talk about causes?
When you get down to thinking about billiard balls knocking into each other, and you keep going further and further and finer and finer and trying to figure out what is the cause of one thing to another, I think you always end up with just conjunction. Basically conjunctive fields. And I don't know if I can see cause in that, because cause kind of works in our mind from one infinitesimal moment of physical time to another. And I don't know if it can reach like that. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
we don't know. There's lots we don't know. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, causality works at at the macro level, at our level of resolution. Things seem to have causes, right? But they never have just one cause. There's never one pure cause. Oh, the fucking Christians always do that, where they make the mistake of like there's this isolated thing causing another thing, and that there aren't a lot of causative factors coming in. Anyway.
Yeah, the adicity of causality.
Yeah,
is what that's often referred to as.
Yeah. So if we had an AI that knew every physical particle and every physical force at a fundamental level, that AI still couldn't answer our questions from our domain of inquiry, right? Which would be like economics or morality or whatever, without having some sort of a cognitive domain that was like us, right? In order for it to answer our questions, it has to almost get up to our level, to our domain of inquiry. And I think that's where emergence becomes a thing, where we have to talk about emergent phenomena. I don't know. It has something to do with the fact that there are humans asking the question, right? If we just had an AI tracking everything that happened in the universe, and then what you guys were talking about is if that AI knew everything at one moment in time, could it predict what was going to be 10 moments further down the wire? What do you think of that, Leo? Could it make that prediction? I don't think so.
Could what make that prediction?
Okay, if an AI knew everything about the universe, every single particle, where it is, what it's doing, how fast it's moving, everything, could it predict what the universe was going to be like 10 notches forward in the future? Could
Yes.
it make a prediction about you think?
Yes, at some scales, at many scales, but it would only be able to make predictions with respect to its relation to all of the things that which it is measuring. Some other AI could relate to those same systems at the same time and get entirely different measurements and both be equally valid. That's
could
first
could it predict when an atom decayed?
No.
Yeah, that's the problem. So yeah, so you don't believe that there's a hidden variable?
I believe reality is fundamentally indeterministic. I think quantum mechanics has shown us that reality seems to be fundamentally indeterministic, non-local, and contextual. And I think that all three of these are easily explained by Carlo Rovelli's relational quantum mechanics. What you measure for any given system or any given degree of freedom of a system is dependent upon how you relate to the system, how you relate to the background against which you're measuring the system, and how the system relates to the background against which you're measuring it. It's all relational. Structure is built from relations. And this gives rise emergently to the physical reality that we experience in our everyday lives.
Yeah, you think it's unfolding in the moment?
Well, I prefer not to use terms like quantum states or anything like that. I don't think that's right. Reality is processual.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be sliced up into states. We need to better understand reality as the processual entity that it is, the consistently and continually evolving entity that it is, and that we are thoroughly a part of that.
Here's a parallel for you. I hate when people talk about brain states, right?
Yeah, so do I. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying. Yep.
Well, I appreciate those perspectives. I'm not going to be so easily sold. I think that even if I had an advanced degree in physics, I still wouldn't be easily sold on the idea. I think that if there's anything at all we don't know, if we can even just admit that there's something we don't know about what's happening at the smallest scales.
Yeah,
well, with respect to how systems evolved,
there's not causal
really
variables affecting whether or not something deteriorates, decays at this rate or at that rate, or when some particle flies off, when it doesn't. That's how my brain works, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But that's how I've worked it out.
Did his voice just go wonky?
Yeah,
it might change like 3 different times there. Yeah,
something's going on with Restream. I think that your voice, Scott, was modulated as hell before we went live. And when I rebooted, it went away. And it was like really weird. It's like your voice was really cool and low. It was
yeah, he doesn't like my voice.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it.
You want me to have a different voice. I get it.
The other thing that I think kind of shows a sense of indeterminacy is the fact that why is it that if we are not directly measuring a system such that its information decoheres to the environment that would be the measurement thing, why is it that then we only get weighted sets of measurements, possible measurement outcomes? Why? Why don't we get definite outcomes at the fundamental level of reality if it's all deterministic? Why do we only get weighted sets of possible outcomes?
How do we calculate those outcomes?
No. Why is it that when you want to know the position of an electron, in order to know the position of the electron, you have to measure it, and you only get the position of the electron at that instant of measurement. Otherwise, you get a weighted set of possible measurements you could get if you measured the position of the electron. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is that?
I don't
No. I mean, would that still be the case if we had a different relationship to time? If we could, if everything was happening a lot slower from our
Time
perspective,
doesn't seem to be relevant here. This seems
Well,
to
if
happen independently of whether you're going forward in time, backward in time. A lot of time in quantum mechanics isn't a background against which things happen. It is itself a measurable quantity.
Okay. Right.
And
So
it
then-
contrasts with energy as an uncertainty relation. The relation between time and energy is the same as position and momentum. The more you know about one, the less you know about the other. These are called complementary properties.
Sure. But it's not like we really understand time. We don't know if A theory is right or B theory is right.
Yes, we do. B theory is correct. It is empirically correct. We verified it many times over the last 100 years.
Do all physicists agree that B is correct?
Yes. Almost every physicist agrees that the B theory of time is correct. Almost every philosopher of physics or metaphysician of physics agrees as well. Almost every single one of somebody studying this agrees that time is tenseless. The tenses of time are not objective features of reality. All moments of time are equally real. Temporal becoming is not an objectively real feature of reality. Things do not begin to exist. They may have beginnings, but they do not begin to exist.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts on that, Leo. Thank you for sharing that. Or your discoveries or your knowledge.
Oh, what other big problems of philosophy do we want to get rid of? God, I love this panel that you came up with, Leo. I'm like, what the fuck? Where did these guys meet?
Who knows?
Wow, that is incredible. Incredible panel.
Holiday Inn in Walla Walla, Washington.
I'm pretty sure that they decided what's right and everything in that panel, and there are no questions after that. We should just listen to them because those are some brilliant people.
I'm going to watch that video just to if I can figure out who all the people are there.
It's a lot of prominent philosophers of science there, that's for sure.
Okay, here we go. Here's the list. Jerry Coyne was there. I did recognize him. Terrence Deegan, Simon DiDio, Owen Flanagan. I don't know who Rebecca Goldstein is, but she's
she's phenomenal. Rebecca Goldstein's pretty good.
Okay. Well, I will look for her content on YouTube.
Well, I don't know if she has anything on YouTube. But...
Well, she might lectures. I'm sure there are lectures.
Oh, yeah.
So if B theory is correct and basically everything is real, and we're not going to look at multiverses, then everything that could have happened has already happened. So all of those radioactive decays have been decided in some fashion, that everything is solid. I mean, like,
what do you mean by decided?
Well, it's already out there. It's already a solid thing. It's only going to go that way. It's always going to go the way that it would have.
I guess I don't know what that means. Thermodynamics is still a thing. Future things depend on things that happened prior to them.
Yeah, from our standpoint, but
from any standpoint, that would be true.
Then everything has happened already. Okay.
What does it mean to say that something has happened? That only means to say that it's in our past. That in and of itself is an illusory concept. The universe exists. Moments exist. We exist. Tense does not really matter. It is an illusory feature of our experience of the world around us.
Yeah, so there's like, okay, rather than particles or tubes or they're stringy things.
What?
Right?
No, there's quantum fields.
Okay, but aren't they tubes?
No, they're not tubes. They're fields.
Okay, we're looking ahead. We're looking at time as the fourth dimension, right?
Well, time can be the fourth dimension, yes.
Any particle in a third dimension is going to be a tube in four dimensions.
I don't know what you mean by tube then. I'm so confused. I would say that there are fields extended through four dimensions and that you need all four of those numbers to understand what's going on at any point in the field.
And that would
and
be
that there's always a non-zero value at any point in the field in space-time.
Okay, if I have my pencil, okay, in three dimensions, okay.
Well, it's in four.
Looks like a pencil. but it looks like a really tubey thing in 4 dimensions. If it's going through time, if we're looking at it in all the past and all of the future, it's going to trace a path through through time, right? In that.
Well, yeah, everything traces a path through time, just like it traces a path through space.
Okay, that's what I mean by tubes. I mean the path that is traced.
So you mean path? You mean it's space-time path?
Tube.
Well, but by that you just mean it's path through space-time.
Well, if you have a marble in 4 dimensions across time, it's going to become a tube.
I don't really know what that means. I would just say path. That's the word I would use. That's the word that's used in special relativity.
Hey, Leo, we are getting a request here from Nitty for a good resource for B theories confirmation.
Yeah, any book on general relativity at all, ever. And I'm genuinely not trying to be facetious or sarcastic. Like, unironically, any book on general relativity, ever. Books on the applications of general and special relativity to like GPS navigation, so stuff like that. Yeah. All of it showing that time is relative. It changes depending on your frame of reference. There is no objective now. That's not how this works. The tenses of time aren't real.
Tubes.
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 It's all tubes.
It's all
tube theory.
Yeah, it is kind of tube theory. That's where it gets real.
Watch, all of a sudden we're going to get a 564-page dissertation from Speed in like 2 years on tube theory.
Tube theory. Well, okay, it's not tubes, it's mycelium. Okay. Notice my name today?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You might need some of that to write that book, though.
Speeder's Rooms. Yep. Oh, yeah. I tried an experiment. Leo will have to tell you about it later backstage. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool experiment.
What experiment?
I could see Iowa from my back door. I saw the cornfields. I saw them all the way down to Des Moines. So are you north of Des Moines or? Like
yes.
North. Okay, northwest, northeast, or are you on 35?
Pretty close to 35.
Really? So if I could drive down there and have coffee with you someday.
He could. I didn't know that Rebecca Goldstein was married to Steven Pinker. He's kind of a douchebag.
Oh, you're kidding. Really?
He's kind of a douchebag.
Oh, I like Pinker.
I kind of don't.
I like his work. Are you talking about something he said on a video, or are you talking about his work? Pinker
what is it that? Yeah, he's made some comments that, you know.
Well, I figure he would. He's a professor, right? So that happens. Anyway, we could meet halfway, Leo. We could meet halfway. You got a car?
I do.
Hey, we could meet halfway. Have coffee somewhere in the middle of around the border of Minnesota.
Clear Lake.
Do you have a legal driver's license?
Of course.
Clear Lake.
Do you have enough money for gas to and back?
Yes.
Sounds like something that can happen then.
Google Maps. Clear Lake, Iowa, or Clear Lake, Minnesota?
Clear Lake, Iowa.
Oh my God.
Make sure and check the air pressure in your tires too.
Oh, let's see. Clear Lake.
Has everybody taken a look at the description and all the links in there? You have no reason to be bored today. We have a video by MathPunk on, let's see, is it Gödel's Incompleteness Theorem, an informal introduction to formal logic. Of course, there's the Does God Exist video, which
what are we talking about?
The links in the description. Then we have Justin Schieber, who used to be on the Reasonable Doubts podcast and the Real Atheology podcast.
Yeah, I think he's still a part of the Real Atheology team.
Okay. Had a debate with Eric Hernandez on Does God Exist? I haven't seen it, so
oh man, I'll tell you what. I was very. Eric's arguments were very underwhelming.
But he's got like a PhD from a Southern Baptist seminary.
Well, no, I don't think he has a PhD.
Oh, I thought he had a PhD.
I know he has some sort of apologetics degree.
Oh, it could be that.
Let me go to his website
apologetics
quick and see
degrees
what
aren't
we
that
got.
great. James Downard yesterday, or in the wee hours of this morning, actually did his evolution hour, where he's going chapter by chapter, doing a source analysis of Traced by Nathaniel Jensen. So he's got a critique of that. So that's always excellent. You should.
He holds an associate's degree in social science, a bachelor's degree in theology, and a certificate in apologetics from Biola University.
Oh my goodness. A certificate from Biola. That, I'll bet you that'll get him lots of jobs at Walmart. Let's see.
Hi, welcome to Walmart.
Hi,
welcome to Walmart.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Walmart.
Here's my certificate.
Hi, welcome to Walmart.
Okay, there's a gentleman named Daniel Everett who's a linguist who has his own theory out about how language developed, and he contends that the Homo erectus line of human type beings came up with language, and it carried on through the ages. So his contention is there's been human language for over 1 million years or 60,000 generations.
Who is that? Who is that?
Daniel L. Everett. He wrote that about his experiences with the Peraha tribe that basically didn't. Their language was so different from ours that nobody could translate it until he did.
Is he the one that wrote that book that you were just reading about that?
Yeah.
That went down. Is that Daniel?
Don't sleep. There are snakes. That's by Daniel Everett, and he's gone on to cause some make some controversial theories about language development that have gotten a lot of respect and discussion going.
What does Pinker think?
What does Pinker think? I don't know. But he has mentioned Pinker in references and stuff. So,
if I'm going to read a problematic linguist, I'm going to read John Searle.
Well, I don't mean problematic in the sense of racial or
propositioning girls for sex for better grades.
Yeah,
like
I
John
mean,
Searle did.
In terms of the theory, the actual theory. So
John Searle will make you pull all of your hair out of your head. That's why I'm bald. John Searle did.
Right. What books by him did you read?
Oh shit, I can't remember. I got about 8 of them. All the ones on consciousness. I don't know. I'd have to go look, Leo. I can't remember.
Oh, and I think I need to refresh because I am missing what happened. What happened to Erica's? I put it in there.
Hey guys,
gone.
So let's end this thing so me and Leo can talk about Clear Lake, Iowa.
Okay. After that, can we talk about Clearwater, Kansas?
Sure.
No, nobody likes Kansas.
Yeah, nobody wants to go to Kansas or Texas for that matter, Scott.
Or Florida.
But I always make a point not to go to Oklahoma on purpose.
Yeah. Florida is a pretty creepy place these days. What the fuck happened to Florida?
Well, joining us. Oops, sorry about that. Joining us in the side chat is Dr. Thompson.
Oh, Dr. Chris. Hi.
Good old Thompson.
Oh my God! Now we're gonna end, Dr. Thompson. We're gonna end. Oh, anyway, okay, let's get out of here so we can do stuff. I have to go to Costco and retrieve nicotine lozenges.
For what?
For my throat, my body. I have to eat nicotine lozenges.
Why?
And they're not on sale this week. I'm gonna have to pay the full price, and that really hurts my feelings. But I'm running out. If I run out of nicotine, I would expire within 5 minutes. I would become a crazed motherfucker if I ever put nicotine in my body. I've been on lozenges for 12 years now.
Been on lozenges?
Yep. And I ingest enough nicotine to stone kill a fucking brontosaurus. Like, just fucking drop them dead. Like, if a brontosaurus ate the amount of nicotine I eat, he would die. I don't know how I've survived this long. I think I'm actually preserved by the fucking shit I've done to my body. I think I've become pickled. That's the only explanation I have that my heart is still beating. Kids don't do what speed does, ever. Fuck. Anyway, okay, guys, should we end her?
That's your call, Speed.
It is. Oh God, why do you do that to me, Scott? You're my partner.
Well, I've started putting stuff in the description. I guess I can hit the end stream button.
You could, yeah. So,
all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Goodbye, crew world.
Goodbye, everybody. Dr. Thompson, I wish you were able to come earlier. And
yeah, we got to have a get together, Doctor.
Yeah, I really need to ask you some questions. Anyway, I'm going to hit end.